Once upon a time in a small village, there stood a grand apple tree in the middle of a lush green meadow. This tree was known throughout the village for its abundant branches that bore the juiciest, sweetest apples anyone had ever tasted. The tree was tall, with a thick trunk and wide, sturdy branches that reached out like welcoming arms. It was a favorite spot for children to play, climb, and enjoy the shade on hot summer days. Among the children who loved the apple tree, there was a little boy who was particularly fond of it. He spent hours every day playing around the tree. He would climb its branches, swing from its limbs, and feast on its delicious apples. The apple tree loved the boy dearly and was always happy to see him. The boy and the tree shared a special bond, and they brought joy to each other's lives. As the boy grew older, he began to visit the apple tree less and less. His interest changed and he started to find new things to occupy his time. The tree noticed the boy's absence and felt lonely without him. One day, after many months, the boy returned to the tree, but he was no longer a little boy. He was a young man now, with worries and desires that went beyond playing and climbing trees. The tree was overjoyed to see the boy again and called out to him, "Come, boy, come play with me like you used to." But the young man shook his head and said, "I'm too old to play with you now. I have new needs and desires. I need money to buy things I want." The tree was saddened to hear this, but it wanted to help the boy. "I don't have any money," said the tree, "but you can pick my apples and sell them in the market. That way, you'll have the money you need." The young man's face brightened at the suggestion. He eagerly climbed up the tree, gathered all the apples, and took them to the market. He sold them for a good price and was able to buy the things he wanted. But after that, he didn't return to the tree for a long time. The tree missed the boy and often thought about him. Many seasons passed, and the tree waited patiently, hoping that the boy would come back one day. Eventually the boy, now a grown man, did return, but he seemed troubled and weary. The tree greeted him warmly. "Welcome back, my boy. Come play with me." But the man shook his head again. "I don't have time to play. I need a house to live in, and I don't have enough money to build one." The tree thought for a moment and then said, "I don't have a house to give you, but you can take my branches and build a house with them." The man looked up at the tree and saw the strong branches that had once held him up as a child. He took an axe and cut down all the branches, leaving the tree bare and stark. The man used the branches to build his house, and once again, he left the tree alone. Years passed and the tree stood in the meadow, now a shadow of its former self. It had no branches, no apples, and it missed the boy who had once brought it so much joy. The tree felt old and weary, but it never stopped hoping that the boy would return. One day the man came back, now much older, with lines of worry etched into his face. The tree recognized him at once and called out, "Come, my boy, come play with me." The man looked at the tree and sighed. "I'm too old to play. I'm tired and sad. I need a boat to sail away and find some peace." The tree's heart ached for the boy it loved so much. It wanted to help, even though it had little left to give. "I don't have a boat," said the tree, "but you can take my trunk and build a boat. Then you can sail away and find peace." The man nodded. He took a saw and cut down the tree's trunk, leaving only a stump. He used the trunk to build a boat and sailed away in search of peace and happiness. The tree was left with nothing but its roots, and it felt lonely and sad. But it was glad that it could still help the boy, even if it meant giving up everything it had. Many years passed, and the seasons came and went. The tree, now just a stump, stood silently in the meadow. It had given everything it had to the boy it loved so dearly. It wondered if it would ever see him again. One day a frail elderly man approached the tree. The tree recognized him immediately. It was the boy, now an old man, who had returned after all these years. The tree's voice was faint, but it spoke with love. "My dear boy, I'm sorry I have nothing left to give you. I have no apples, no branches, and no trunk. All I have is this old stump. But you are welcome to sit and rest." The old man smiled, tears in his eyes. He sat down on the stump and said, "I don't need anything more. I just need a place to rest." The tree was filled with joy. It had finally given the boy all that it could. And now it could offer him a place to rest. The old man rested on the stump, feeling at peace, and the tree was happy. And so the boy and the apple tree, who had given so much to each other over the years, were together once again. The tree had given everything it had to the boy, and in return, it had found its own peace and happiness. Though the tree was now just a stump, it was content, knowing that it had been able to provide for the boy in every stage of his life.